Part 1. The doorway effect. Why brain energy matters. Have you ever walked into the kitchen, stopped at the counter, and completely forgot why you came in? It happens to everyone. A classic doorway effect, where crossing a threshold seems to wipe our working memory clean. Most of the time it's harmless. We didn't pay enough attention, or context changed. But if these lapses happen a lot, it raises a question. Is it just stress, or something more? Our brains are extremely energy hungry. In fact, the brain makes up only about 2% of body weight, yet burns roughly 20% of our energy. It's like an always-on engine demanding fuel. Think of each brain cell as a little device that runs on batteries. Those batteries are the mitochondria. Mitochondria are dynamic organelles that supply energy in the form of ATP. In other words, they are the cell's power plants, the batteries of your brain cells. When mitochondria are healthy and charged, you can form memories and focus sharply. But as scientists have found, if mitochondria start to decay or become damaged with age, the neurons simply lose power. A landmark study in aging rats showed that loss of energy in brain mitochondria went hand in hand with memory loss, and that giving rats mitochondrial nutrients improved both their cell structure and their memory performance. This is the core idea. Your brain runs on batteries, and if those batteries start to fail, through what we might call mitochondrial decay, your memory and thinking fade. It's not inevitable, though. Early detection and intervention can help recharge those batteries. Later in the video we'll show how. But first, let's look closely at the warning signs that suggest your brain may be aging faster than it should, so you can catch problems early, while the brain is still plastic and fixable. Part 2. 7 warning signs of accelerated brain aging. Below are 7 subtle signs that go beyond a normal forgetful day. If you or a loved one notice several of these, it's time for a closer look, not panic. Early awareness is the key. 1. Repeating questions or stories. Everyone forgets things occasionally, but a red flag is repeating the same question or story many times without realizing it. For example, asking, "What's the time?" every few minutes, or telling a story and then telling it again a little later as if it's new. Memory experts note that this kind of repetition beyond the occasional lapse can signal a memory problem. It often happens because the information never fully stuck in working memory. 2. Loss of smell, anosmia. A diminished sense of smell is surprisingly one of the earliest warning signs of cognitive decline. National Institute on Aging researchers found that older adults with even subtle smell loss were more likely to develop mild cognitive impairment and underlying Alzheimer's brain changes in the following years. In plain terms, if you find you're not noticing odors or scents you used to, coffee brewing, perfume, spices, it's worth noting. Anosmia can precede memory symptoms by years. 3. Difficulty planning or solving problems. Tasks that used to be routine, like balancing a checkbook, cooking a familiar recipe, or following a plan, suddenly feel confusing. You might get stuck on the steps or lose track of numbers. This reflects early decline in executive function, the brain's ability to organize, plan, and multitask. Neurologists list trouble with planning, reasoning, or even handling numbers as a key early sign of dementia. If routine tasks now take much longer or seem perplexing, pay attention. 4. Mood or personality changes. Noticeable shifts in mood, personality, or behavior, beyond the occasional crankiness, can be a warning. For example, Someone who was always cheerful may become withdrawn or suspicious, or a normally calm person might show anxiety or irritability. Alzheimer's and related brain changes often affect brain chemistry before memory, leading to depression, apathy, or anxiety. These emotional changes are not simply a normal part of aging, but can reflect underlying changes in the brain. It's good to talk to a doctor if you or your loved ones notice such shifts. 5. Confusion about time or place. Occasionally forgetting the date happens to all of us, but true disorientation is different. If you, or someone you know, start losing track of time, thinking it's a different day, or being unable to follow the passage of time, that's concerning. Even more, getting lost in a familiar location, for example, driving to a place you've gone many times and suddenly not recognizing landmarks, is a serious sign. This confusion with routine facts or surroundings is a hallmark of Alzheimer's-type changes. 6. Trouble with familiar tasks or judgments. Perhaps you find everyday activities suddenly challenging, misusing common objects, putting coffee grounds in the fridge instead of the coffee maker, or struggling with simple decisions. For instance, following the steps of a once familiar recipe or even dressing oneself in the correct order might suddenly become hard. Doctors call this apraxia or agnosia. It often goes hand in hand with the other signs above as a sign that brain networks aren't functioning optimally. While this can be just a brief shuffle of memory, if it persists, it's a clue that the brain isn't as sharp as it used to be. 7. Struggling to hold new information, working memory fade. By midlife, almost everyone notices that short-term memory isn't as sharp as in youth. But it shouldn't be dramatically impaired. If you find it hard to remember new facts, phone numbers, or even our little memory quiz below, that's a warning. In fact, research shows that half of older adults experience some decline in working memory, the ability to hold and manipulate new information. For example, if you're frequently forgetting a list of items or why you entered a room, and it happens more often than it used to, take note. Mini cognitive test. Let's try a quick test. Keep your mind sharp. I'll say 3 words: garden, orange, wallet. Say them to yourself, and hold on to them in your mind. We'll come back to these words in a few minutes. Remember, no pen or notes. Just recall these later to see how you do. While you remember those words, here's something interesting. In normal aging, people often intentionally create memory purges when moving from one place to another, the doorway effect. But if the memory gaps become longer and more frequent, for example, frequently losing track of why you walked into a room, or what you were going to say, then it may signal that the brain's energy systems need a boost. All these signs, the repeated questions, the lost train of thought, mood swings, smelling less, getting confused, are clues that the brain may not have enough cellular energy. They feel like aging, but they're actually early warning lights. The good news is that detecting them early means we can do something about it. Next, we'll dive into the science behind this, how mitochondria fuel your brain, and why simply doing crossword puzzles isn't enough if the batteries are weak. Part 3. The Science of Mitochondria. Have you tried playing Sudoku or crossword puzzles to keep sharp? Those are fun, and some studies confirm they make you better at that puzzle. But research shows they don't address what really wears down our brains with age. In fact, experts note that such brain training programs may help people get better at specific tasks, but don't seem to improve their cognitive performance overall. In other words, puzzles train the brain's routine skills, but they don't fix the brain's cellular engine. Underneath every neuron, there's a powerhouse humming away, the mitochondria. These tiny organelles churn out ATP, the fuel that powers brain signals. The brain is hugely energy hungry. It's only approximately 2% of your body mass but uses nearly 20% of its energy. So each neuron packs in mitochondria by the hundreds or even thousands. In fact, one review noted, in a single neuron, hundreds to thousands of mitochondria are contained. Some estimates even say up to 2 million in very active neurons. Each brain cell houses hundreds to thousands of these battery packs, blue. These mitochondria constantly convert nutrients into ATP to keep our neurons firing. Over time, however, these batteries run down. Aging brain regions like the hippocampus, a memory hub, show early mitochondrial fatigue. Scientists have found that with age mitochondria become less efficient and actually generate more damaging reactive oxygen species, free radicals, than before. For example, a 2014 study reported that older adults had significantly higher levels of ROS, reactive oxygen species, in their cells, indicating mitochondria were leaking energy and fueling oxidative stress. In aging mice, researchers saw synaptic mitochondria in the hippocampus start failing as early as middle age, producing less ATP and a burst of free radicals, contributing directly to memory loss. In short, the very cells that give us energy begin to falter, especially in regions tied to memory. What does that mean in plain terms? When mitochondria decay, our cells suffer. Free radicals, the wrong kind of oxygen byproducts, damage DNA, proteins and cell membranes, even triggering programmed cell death, apoptosis. High levels of ROS induce severe oxidative stress, leading to DNA, protein or lipid damage in cells, and causing cell apoptosis or necrosis. This cell damage contributes to the classic symptoms of an aging brain: senior moments, forgetfulness, and that foggy, slow feeling. In fact, one review explicitly links mitochondrial dysfunction to cognitive decline. Mitochondrial dysfunction is a critical factor in memory impairment and aging. The result is a vicious cycle. Worn-out mitochondria produce more damage, which in turn makes them even weaker. Here's the hopeful twist. Scientists have identified compounds that can boost mitochondria or even stimulate the birth of new ones. One standout example is pyrroloquinoline quinone, PQQ. PQQ is a natural nutrient found in some fruits, vegetables, and human breast milk. Research suggests it plays a critical part in delaying the effects of age and helping to improve cognitive function. In lab studies, PQQ has been shown to trigger key growth pathways, CREB and PGC1-alpha, that activate mitochondrial biogenesis, essentially building fresh new mitochondria inside cells. It's as if PQQ helps recharge the very batteries inside our neurons. We'll explore how to get PQQ and other boosters in the next section. Part 4. The protocol and solution. Now let's talk solutions. Research already points to simple, natural ways to keep mitochondria and memory robust. First, diet matters. Blueberries, for example, are loaded with antioxidants, anthocyanins, that cross into the brain and protect neurons. In fact, a small clinical trial gave older adults daily blueberry juice and found significant improvements in memory performance over 12 weeks. Participants were able to recall more paired words, a task linked to hippocampal function. The takeaway: add berries, leafy greens, and other colorful plant foods to your meals to nourish mitochondria and neurons. Second, intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating may help. Laboratory studies show that brief periods of fasting trigger brain cells to become more resilient. Fasting appears to boost production of BDNF, a neuroplasticity factor, reduce inflammation, and even spur neurogenesis in the hippocampus. In animal models of Alzheimer's and other cognitive decline, fasting reduced oxidative stress and improved memory. Human studies, while limited, suggest similar trends. People practicing regular intermittent fasting showed better cognitive scores and lower oxidative stress markers than non-fasters. In other words, giving the body a regular fasting break forces cells to clean up damage and strengthen. It's like resetting the system to make neurons, and their mitochondria, more efficient again. Third, get moving. Exercise is a proven way to power up your brain's mitochondria. One review summarizes: exercise is one of the most effective strategies to maintain a healthy body and mind, with beneficial effects on promoting brain plasticity, increasing cognition and reducing the risk of cognitive decline and dementia, mitochondria being a preferential target organelles. In plain terms, physical activity signals your brain cells to grow more mitochondria, produce more BDNF, and become more efficient at using energy. Even moderate exercise, a daily walk, aerobic dance or strength training, can boost mitochondrial function and help clear out free radicals in the brain. Finally, meet Neuro-Thrive, a targeted supplement designed as a mitochondrial optimizer. Neuro-Thrive's star ingredient is that PQQ we mentioned earlier, at a clinically effective 10 mg dose, plus brain-supporting cofactors like B vitamins, bacopa, etc. Why does PQQ matter? Decades of research show PQQ can stimulate the same biogenesis pathways that make new mitochondria. In cultured cells, adding just micromolar amounts of PQQ ramped up CREB, PGC1 alpha signaling, increasing mitochondrial DNA and energy output. In fact, one study noted that animals deprived of PQQ had much fewer mitochondria, a deficit that even tiny doses of PQQ could reverse. Translating this to the brain, it suggests PQQ can help recharge aging neurons by replenishing their mitochondrial batteries. In a clinical trial, a PQQ supplement improved memory scores in adults compared to placebo. Think back to our battery metaphor. Aging brains start to run on empty. Neuro-Thrive is designed to plug into that battery. By activating mitochondrial biogenesis, Neuro-Thrive helps cells burn fuel more efficiently and resist oxidative damage. It's not magic, but targeted nutrition backed by science. And it works best when paired with the other steps: diet, fasting, exercise. Remember the memory test from before, the 3 words: garden, orange, wallet. Let's try it now, after arming the brain with these tools. Take a moment. Can you recall those 3 words? With the boosters we've covered, many people find they recall better this time. If not, don't stress. The point is not perfection but improvement. Even small gains in recall show that these mitochondrial strategies are making a difference in how your brain operates. Brain aging isn't fixed fate, it's plastic. The research is clear. Lifestyle and targeted support can slow, and in some ways partly reverse, the decline. By nourishing mitochondria through nutrition, fasting and exercise, and with Neuro-Thrive's formula of proven compounds, you're giving your brain extra fuel and protection. That means sharper memory, clearer thinking, and more energy for life's moments. You've learned the warning signs. Now use the right tools. Your brain doesn't have to age too fast. With science on your side, those senior moments can become far less frequent.